Hi folks, it's Anita and Narayan here from the United Kingdom on what is a cold but sunny day here. So I just wanted to take some time on this brief video to first of all testify to the results I have received so far on the Tron Forsage VIP Elite Scientific Team Build. And I also want to share my experience a little bit because I've had a few people who've said, look, Anita, I'm thinking of coming on board, or I would love to come on board, but what is your honest opinion and your experience? So this seems a great moment to sort of do both of those things. So let me first of all screen share and share with you my results. And so just to give you a little bit of context, Tron Forsage is a smart contract, and it was created by somebody called Laudo Optotnikov. And when he first created this, I think about a year ago, thereabouts, it was in the Ethereum format. And then several months down the road, Ethereum started to go high on the gas fees, which are like the transaction fees. And so he came out with a Tron version. So both versions are going, but for the purpose of this, I'm talking about Tron Forsage, the Tron version. So he is the author of that. But when it comes to the VIP Elite Scientific Team Build, that is the creation of Dr. Lieven here. This is a very specific strategy and formula, and if you like, community that is being built here with the sole purpose that everybody should be a winner and thrive with this program. So that's just a little bit of context there. And so as far as results are concerned, again, a reference point, my wallet was activated on the 17th of October. Gosh, I don't know where the time has gone. It seems like only yesterday, but it was 17th of October. And as you can see from this little graphic here, Dr. Lieven in his channel at the 2-week mark was just saying, hey, Anita, look into your wallet to see how it's going. And in this one, although you can't see it very well, it's the first one that was set up, and the second one, I'll come on to that in a moment. And so, the results after a couple of weeks, just to give you a little bit of inkling, I was showing 35,500 Tron. So, you know, there was kind of movement and momentum right out from the gate. And then 4 weeks later, on November the 16th, 2020, which was a few days ago, I received my first payout of 10,000 Tron, and 10,000 Tron is about $250. And you know, to keep the math simple, $250 went in to get the contract rolling, and this is like a break-even point, which means that everything after this moment on the next payout will be pure profits. And so let me just show you the proof of that, because it's one thing to tell somebody, it's another thing to just show people. So this is the transaction on TronScan, and you can always check transactions with Tron on TronScan, whether you're sending somebody money or receiving, whether it's in pending mode or otherwise. The beauty of the blockchain and the TronScan blockchain here is you can see everything as it is happening. So you can see that the transaction was successful. It was also confirmed. There needs to be some confirmations of the transaction before it will actually show up. This here at the bottom is my wallet. This was the wallet that Dr. Lieven sent from. And as you can see, 10,000 Tron was sent successfully. I would just open my wallet and show you, but it seems to shut off when I do this screen share. But the Tron scan is really the crucial verification there. So am I happy about that? You bet I am. I'm very, very happy, and I'm very grateful to Dr. Lieven. I'm also very grateful to you folks, because as I come on to share my experience now and answer your questions, you know, you need both for this to work. So those are my results, and And so for those of you who've been reaching out and saying, I'm thinking of coming on board, and, you know, or I'd love to come on board, but Anita, what is your experience? I want to just kind of give you a little bit of that, so that you can throw that into the mix of your decision. The first thing I would say to you is, if you're already thinking of coming on board, or you've already decided, yes, I'd love to come on board, well, you've already formed an opinion. And what I want to say to you is, ultimately, it doesn't matter what I think. It only matters what you think as far as the decisions you make for your life. I can share my experience with you, but you're not going to get me forcing or persuading or manipulating. And what's lovely about this is I can share results, share my experience, and let that do the talking. The most important thing is you take ownership of the decisions you make, whether it's something like this or anything in your life. And so what contributed to my experience here were kind of three key things. And again, before I go into those three things, I want to give you a little bit of context when it comes to investing in anything, because I, like perhaps so many of you, have gone into programs, lost money, done okay on some, not broken even, all these things. Those stories are so commonplace on the internet. Affiliate marketing and network marketing and all those things are not my number one. I am a coach and a mentor, based on, as you've seen in the channel, Dr. Lieven has put in there from time to time, based on my journey written in the book Breaking Free. That is my life's work, and that is my main contribution to the world. But what I learned many years ago, but it took many more years before it kind of registered at heart level, is that it doesn't matter how good an accountant you are, how good a solicitor you are, how good a property person or a technology person or a coach or a mentor you are. None of us are immune from what I call the economic winds. We saw the property bubble burst years ago. We saw the tech bubble burst years ago. It's got nothing to do with how good you are. But it took me a long time to really kind of start to grasp that at heart level, because I was so invested in my coaching and mentoring, and I still am. But wisdom kicked in that in order to navigate the economy and look at what's happening right now, for example, to have a few income streams that allow you to navigate the different economic seasons is very important and vital. I'm not a serial entrepreneur. I don't intend to be. I want to enjoy life and have balance, and, you know, have time to appreciate my contributions to life, not just be working all hours of the day. But I recognize the importance and value of having a few income streams. And then it's one thing to realize that. It's then another thing to be able to move forward with wisdom and discernment, so that you come out on the other side winning more often than you do losing, if you like. And so that's when the value of education really came home to me, that in order to change your money story, it's important to recognize the story that's playing out on the inside, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and to be willing to change that so that you are aligned to creating wealth. And then it's all about the practical steps, the building blocks, of which education is very important. The sad bit about that is very few people are willing to do that. But certainly a book I recommend. I had to buy a new one because I lent my other one out. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It helps you understand how money flows and how you can build wealth, and talks about the cash flow quadrant, the self-employed, the employed, the self-employed, the investor, and the business. And coming on to here, we're talking about investment, the investment category here, where you put your money into something so that it can work for you, whether you're awake or whether you're sleeping. And so I needed to learn about that. So a few years ago, about 2 years ago, I started to invest in my financial education, particularly in the area of investments, started to build a portfolio. And a couple of the things that went into my portfolio were about just about 2 years down the road. And if they continue to go as they have been, those two sectors are going to be very lucrative for me. But notice I said 2 years down the road. And so coming onto this Tron Forsage as a standalone project, if you're thinking of, hey, I put my money in today and I reap thousands tomorrow, this is not for you. So that would be the first thing I would say to you, is that with an investment, recognize that it's a mid to long term thing rather than a short term thing. In saying that, I've done very well. If you asked me, well, would I be happy if I broke even after 4 weeks? I'd say, yeah, absolutely. So this is going very well, and it's not so much about the time as about the number of people that start to come in, and we're in the beginning stages right now. So so that's the first thing I'd say to you, by way of giving you context. Understand how money flows. Choose your investments wisely, but on the basis of educating so that you can select and deselect accordingly. And then into these 3 bullet points here, find a good product, or in this Tron Forsage, we're talking about a smart contract, but we could be talking about anything here, whether it's affiliate marketing or network marketing. Find a good product, one that sings to your heart, that you're going to feel passionate about, because that energy will carry through when you're looking to build an audience around that. And so the power of a good product, what I will say to you is that as far as smart contracts go, Tron Forsage would be the only one I would consider. And that's after being in at least, I don't know, 8 to 10 programs, all of which kind of came to tears in one way or the other, but was a very good learning experience on smart contracts. Had this not been Tron Forsage, I wouldn't be going ahead and doing it. And the reason is quite simply this, is that the person behind the product, you need to be able to trust. And I think Lado Optopnikov, for me, I watched Forsage for quite a few months before I even got involved in the Ethereum version. But for me, he seems so far to be the real deal. And as I said, I believe it's been going for about a year now. And so it doesn't matter how unstoppable a smart contract is. If you don't have a trustworthy owner, and if the coding is not clean, and if it's not being tested, you're on a hiding to nothing. And so I watched and observed. I did not trust blindly, as Dr. Lieven has said from time to time, do not just trust blindly. And so this would be the only product I would be willing to do this with as far as smart contracts are concerned. You make your decision though. So that was the first thing I had to ask myself. Do I trust Tron Forsage? The answer was yes. When there's been blips and adjustments that have been needed, like with the gold program, Lado has gone on and done it, and it's been an inconvenience while we wait for the blips to be dealt with, of course, but he's done it. And so that's the first one. Then the second thing is about the power of a winning formula. I had to ask myself, could I with Tron Forsage do well myself, as well as do well for the people who would join under me? My answer to that was I could do okay over time, because I'm willing to share with people. I don't have a problem with that. But the irony for me is that I tend to do much better on my coaching and mentoring, selling, if you like, $3.5 grand, $5 grand programs than I do on things that cost a lot less. So that's interesting. So my answer is I would do okay over a period of time, but that was not enough. So enter the VIP Elite Scientific Team Build, which is the creation of Dr. Lieven. I cannot articulate to you the algorithms that he has been observing, witnessing, and working with in order to make this a winning formula. So don't ask me about that. You'd have to ask Dr. Lieven that. But his skill is on the marketing, and certainly he has a very mathematical mind with understanding how these programs work and how to position them in a way that is strategic and that you come out the winner. I don't. I can go so far, but that's not going to be enough. So the idea of having a done for you strategy and formula where you basically outsource the key component parts to the people who are best at it, and then you create an arrangement, we call it a joint venture really, where it's a profit share. And in this particular arrangement, it's more than a fair profit share, in my opinion. And I say more than fair because I would happily conclude that Dr. Lieven should get more than a third, because what he's doing is by far the hardest, most complex thing, and he's skilled at it, so it won't be as hard for him as it would be if it were me doing that. And it's a very, very critical piece of the winning formula. That is not to ignore that you still need people coming on board. Can you imagine if I was the only one? I'd be talking to myself and wouldn't be sharing in this way. So I acknowledge that, but that is a critical piece. But so 33% for me, 33% for him, 33% for the marketing, I think is more than a fair split, there and thereabouts. And so the beauty of done for you is that I can get on with my main life's work, and it is being, my account is being managed by somebody I know, like, and trust, and I'll come on to that in a moment. And I have to say that I haven't been looking every 2 minutes into my account, not because I'm not interested, but because for me it's a little bit like, you know, you bake a cake and now you put it in the oven, and if you keep opening the oven door, the heat comes out and it takes longer. Well, it doesn't matter if I look into my account every 2 minutes, but that's just a consumption of energy I don't want. The whole idea is to free my energy, not just my time and money, so I can focus on what I do best and my life's work. And so, but I've been very pleasantly surprised. I didn't know what to expect in terms of results or how soon, but I was very relaxed about it too. And the reason I was relaxed about it too, we move on to the third point. So having a winning formula, which this appears to be so far, not just for myself, but in sharing my results, it's holding a mirror up to you to say, this is what's coming your way. Okay, so this is not just about me, but that's a nice segue onto the final point, which is the power of team. And for me, that kind of breaks down into three areas. I've already talked about Tron Forsage, and the Lado Optopnikov for me so far seems to be the real deal. And in that he's building a community, this wasn't just a one-night wonder. Says to me he's here for the long run. And then on from that, the question became, do I know, like, and trust Dr. Lieven? And you've heard Dr. Lieven talk about, don't just blindly trust him. Now, in my case, I went down for 2 weeks to Portugal back in 2018. Nothing to do with this or affiliate marketing, but to do with an overlapping interest that I have with his bigger vision, which is the innovative hotel health project that he intends to build. And so that was the context for the visit. I wanted to meet him face to face. I wanted to get a sense of him as a person and his heart, so I could decide, well, you know, would this be somebody I could work with in the future if all the ducks lined up without obligation? And so I spent 2 weeks. We talked about health. We talked about a whole load of things in life. And so I got to know the heart of the person. So for me, I know enough about Dr. Lieven to know that I know, like, and trust him. I don't join him on every single program he has in affiliate marketing. That's back to owning your decision. And I say that without apology. We each have to be our own persons. But I trusted him. So that's one aspect of the power of team, is that you need to have that trust. Otherwise, don't invest your money anywhere. But also, I would say, is take the time to build that rapport. We're in a time right now where we have constraints put on our travel for not good reasons as far as I'm concerned. But that's where we have the internet, that's where we can observe, and in the Telegram channel you get to observe, and Dr. Lieven has given a lot of time to showing the process and how things are working. So, be relaxed and take the time you need, but also be okay if this is not for you. No love lost. And so that's Dr. Lieven, but also, and I've talked about Lado Topnikov, who is the owner of the smart contract. But the other, so that's two. And then the third aspect of that really is you. I wouldn't be sharing these results if you hadn't come on board. And it needs people to make it work. And so everybody's contributing in some way, shape or form, whether through the money and saying, here's my money, $250, 10,000 Tron, whilst it is at that. And then the skill of Dr. Lieven on top of a good product by Lado Optopnikov. Can you see it's about all the moving parts coming together? And what I love about the arrangement as I'm learning about this is that if you notice, every sixth position under you, a part of your profits goes into paying for another position. So when I go back to this graphic here, the first one was my first wallet, if you like, and this second one is to do with position 6. So when this is me at the top, then there's 2 people, 1, 2, and then 4 under them, 3, 4, 5, and at that 6th point, a percentage of my profits are creamed out to buy another $250 position. And I think that's a very smart play, because what it means is that all the time we are contributing in such a way that the flow of income and profits becomes perpetual. If you remember, Dr. Lieven spoke about, this isn't just about putting $250 and right now I want to withdraw my money. For a smart contract to be profitable for you, you need to look at the immediate, you need to look at the midterm, you need to look at the long term. Hence why he's taken the time to work out and implement a strategy with milestones that you can produce cash flow, but that it gets nurtured so that your account becomes strong and then has longevity about it. In other words, perpetual income. That is what is being rolled out here, not just kind of short-term income. And so it takes care of certain things that Robert Kiyosaki also talked about, which is, and my paraphrase is that it's one thing to generate money, and that's where so many people are focused. They're focused on money generation, but they don't look at how you can multiply and then preserve your income, which is where the mid and the long term comes in, so that you've got your money is working for you. So if you don't show up to work one day, your money is working for you. And that's how you take care of those 3 parts. So that is my experience. I think I kind of covered the main points, but what I do love is that we have a good product here, a good smart contract, probably the best as far as I'm concerned in Tron Forsage. We have what appears to be, for me, a winning formula and strategy, which is the VIP Elite team build, which is designed to generate cash, to make your account strong, so that it has longevity, so it gives you perpetual income, not just income for today. And it's arranged in such a way that we're each continually contributing at certain points of the cycle by opening up a new wallet from our proceeds, so that this thing can have lasting impact and truly become unstoppable. Not just what you see on these smart contracts, it's unstoppable. Well, it's not unstoppable if the flow of people and the throughput of people and the flow of purchases dry up. But I believe with this winning formula, we do have a winning formula here that can take care of all those things. And then thirdly, the power of team. What I love in this community that's building, even though we're embryonic at this stage, is that we're getting some truly heart-centered people come on board, and that gives it a very nice feel in terms of the community. Everybody encouraging everybody and everybody congratulating everybody, and knowing that even though I, along with Gail, and congratulations Gail if you're listening in on this, we're the first of the cohort of all of you that are going to be reaping and having payouts and wallet withdrawals, not just one time over, but for a long time to come. And so nobody needs to be envious of anybody, because this is being built for the long term. And I just love the feel of the community, that most people, for the most part, are giving, are contributing, are showing appreciation. I thank you for everybody that sent me congratulations, and this is going to be you shortly. So I hope that's helped you, put some thoughts into your own melting pot. And by all means, reach out to me if you have any questions, or if you think I haven't covered anything that you'd like to know more about. But this is me, this is my experience. And I want to say a big thank you to Dr. Lieven for being willing to do this, because I know it's hard work. I've watched him for a couple of years go into other people's programs and willingly give them the algorithms, the mathematical formulas, only to see it become, excuse my language, bastardized, and for things to fold. And I know that he has said he would rather somebody else does it, but I'm glad that he has done this. And so thank you, Dr. Lieven. And I also want to thank everybody that is participating in this program as well, because without you being here, I and many of you will not be able to share in this way. Results come from people's contribution. And I'd also like to thank Laudo for creating a solid smart contract. So my gratitude in all three directions, and long may this last. So on that note, wherever you are in the world, I hope that you're staying safe. I hope that you're staying strong, and I hope that you're optimizing your immune system in every sense of the word, doing everything you can to strengthen your immunity, which is not just your physical health, but your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, and at the level of soul as well. So I shall speak to you hopefully on a future video, and bye for now.